Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast, brought to you by the National Association of Black Journalists at the University of Central Florida. I'm your host, Christie St, and today's episode, we're going to dive into breast cancer and the intersection of faith. When it comes to breast cancer, there are so many gray areas and misconceptions. Let's talk about what we know. According to the American Cancer Society, breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among women. And it mostly affects women age 50 and older, who develop about 83% of new breast cancer cases and represent 91% of deaths from breast cancer. Half of the women who die from breast cancer in the U.S. are 70 or older. But just because the research and statistics only talk about older women doesn't mean that breast cancer doesn't affect younger populations as well. A common misconception is that women under 50 cannot be diagnosed with breast cancer, or if they are, they will have a higher chance of survival. But actually, did you know that each year, approximately 70,000 men and women aged 15 to 29 are diagnosed with cancer in the U.S.? According to the Young Survival Coalition, compared to older women, young women generally face more aggressive cancers and lower cervical rates. The worst part is that there's no effective breast cancer survival tool yet for women under 40. Young African Americans are more likely to get aggressive forms of breast cancer than any other racial group, highlighting the racial disparity happening in healthcare. Black women, 50 and under, have a death rate that was twice as high as white women that age. You might ask yourself, then why don't women just pay for screenings or a mammogram? Researchers believe that access to healthcare and the quality of healthcare available may explain these disparities, but scientists continue to investigate. Women cannot take screenings unless they're at least 25 years old. The cost of a screening or a mammogram depends on the state and the region you're in. It can range from $100 to $1,000. In the state of Florida, screening can be up to $160. Here at UCF, students look towards organizations to raise awareness on issues and support the community, especially in Black student spheres. I spoke with Vice President and drummer of UCF's Gospel and Cultural Choir, Ben Greene, about how faith plays a large role in the healing journey for people who suffer from breast cancer and other illnesses. Today, I am with the Gospel and Cultural Choir's Vice President, Ben Greene. Ben, introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. My name is Ben Greene. I'm a senior here at UCF. I serve as the vice president for this school year for the Gospel and Cultural Choir, and I'm also the drummer for the choir as well.
For everyone who doesn't know, what is the Gospel and Cultural Choir?
So it's a faith-based choir, obviously, and our mission is really just to uplift people, the students on campus as well as throughout the community, and to really show God's love, grace, and message to all people.
How long have you been a member?
I've been a member. This is my second year, So I joined last year.
So tell me more about the Gospel and Cultural Choir's mission, and how does this relate to the work you guys do around campus and in our community?
So the biggest thing, I think, is the impact that we have on the students. So many students are looking for a different experience. They might be tired of what they're doing just out in the world. They're just looking for encouragement, and that's where we come into play. So being at different events, we're really just trying to reach the students on campus. And to reach anybody that's interested in us, but the main reason is just the students, impacting them, inspiring them, encouraging them to keep going.
That's awesome. GCC participated in UCF's Pi Psi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated's 14th annual breast cancer luncheon. Can you talk about their luncheon and GCC's performance?
So we were contacted a couple of weeks ago to do it. Of course, it takes some time to get everybody involved, but so many people from the choir were interested in doing it because of the mission and what the event represented. And we came, we sung a couple of different songs, and overall the experience was just great. The hospitality was great, and it was for a great cause. It was for one of their fallen members, so I think it was a great initiative, and it was a great event overall.
Nice. What songs did you guys sing, and why did you pick those particular songs?
So we sung this song by the Winans called In the Morning. That specifically is kind of just saying there's going to be some trying times, there's going to be some hard times, but just continue to fight on until the morning, and it really will be all over. Like, just keep keep your head up, keep striving for what you're doing, keep pushing, because sometimes it can get tough, especially when it comes to the topic of breast cancer. But for all of our survivors and people that are dealing with it, just keep moving on and keep pressing forward. Another song we sung was Revelation 91, and it's specifically referencing the scripture in Revelation, and it kind of just talks about how powerful God is. And in the topic of cancer and sickness and whatnot, you look to a higher power for that reassurance that you're going to be okay.
Right.
And that talks about the power, the grace, the mercy of God, and how he really can come through for you when it's needed.
What does breast cancer awareness mean to the Gospel and Cultural Choir specifically? And does a personal life connection drive you guys to participate in the Awareness Center events?
So we didn't really have a personal connection that I know of. But because it's specifically breast cancer and just the topic of cancer as well, it's a sickness that devastates so many different families. And so often you rely on the doctors, you rely on the medical staff, the hospital, but you need encouragement from some other form of group or organization. And that's where faith comes into play. And so when we got the opportunity and we realized, okay, it's October, it's breast cancer, this event is about breast cancer awareness, we were like, we could use our mission of faith to really inspire people, to really encourage people to keep pushing. So, yeah.
So, as we know, breast cancer affects many people, especially in the African-American community. Do you think that on campus that UCF orgs do you think we're doing enough as UCF organizations to raise awareness about breast cancer, especially for the Black community?
I think we have, but I think more could be done.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that is because it affects every single person that you see. Somebody's friend, family member, mom, auntie, or even men. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Especially in the Black community, we know somebody who's either battled breast cancer or, we've heard stories. And I think, yes, UCF, there are so many different events that we are doing, and I'm so glad, especially the Black UCF campus is really, really pushing in that area. But there's always more that we can do to encourage, to uplift, to raise money, to raise awareness. There's always more that we can do.
Who do you think should be responsible for raising breast cancer awareness and offering screenings for students? Should it be UCF, healthcare providers, student groups, or all of the above?
I think you could say all the above, but I definitely would say UCF because they have the most resources in hand to be able to do those things. It's really imperative that they use those resources for things that affect the everyday person. And sickness like this affects the everyday person. So it's very important. There are students, obviously, that have been affected, specifically Black people in the Black community. So I think it's very important that UCF uses the resources that they have to raise awareness and raise money for the cause.
Yeah. What type of events or programs would you like to see UCF create to help spread awareness about breast cancer?
I would love to see a faith-based type of push. I know that the university might not push that because it's faith-based, but I would love to see that because people need encouragement, and they always look to faith-based organizations when it comes to things like this, and so I think that would be a great option. I know that the city of Orlando does a cancer walk and different things like that. If UCF sponsored their own cancer walk, or even if some Black organizations decided we're going to do our own cancer walk, that's great as well. And there's so many different things, health screenings, mammograms, different things like that, sponsoring that so that people can get it.
How could social media be used to help college students learn more about breast cancer and show support for related causes?
I think the biggest thing is making and allowing stories of survivors and people that we have lost to the disease to be amplified and shared. There's so many things that we don't see every day, and a lot of times when it comes to things like cancer, it's out of sight, out of mind. So if you're not seeing it, you don't really understand it. You're not really pushed to help the cause or raise money, raise awareness. And so I think the biggest thing is people's stories being amplified so that we can make a difference.
Right. How can student groups connect with the Black community to help address breast cancer and health gaps?
Come and talk to us. We exist. We are in your classrooms. We're in your groups. You see us every day. Just come and talk to us. You guys can email us. Let us know what you want to do. We're willing to work with you guys. Just please, I think it's the biggest thing is just reaching out to us in order to get awareness and alliance.
You talked earlier about healing and how it helps people get through diseases and hard times. Can you talk about your personal experience of seeing or like watching people's reaction when you guys perform?
Let's go back to the spring concert spring semester 2024. It was a big year for us, a lot of momentum, a lot of new members, so it was exciting. And I remember playing drums. We were singing some, pretty intense songs, and I remember watching people cry and start weeping. And people, we got so many stories back of people like usually don't go to church, all these things like interested in joining, interested in going to church again, boohoo crying in the crowd, and they don't shed no tears. So it was crazy to see the impact that we had, and we just college students singing. We not, Grammy Award winning, recording artists. We just doing what we do. So yeah. I think that was crazy.
How do members get involved, and how active are you guys in sharing the word? Do you guys just do campus events? Do you guys go out into the community, go to churches? Like, how do you guys do this?
So a lot of our events are on campus, so the different RSOs, especially the Black organizations, they reach out to us if they want us to perform, like the AKAs did. And then we do have churches that reach out to us and book us for different events. We've done birthday events. We've done church services on Sunday mornings. We also do Bible studies on campus every now and then. So we do a lot of different things on campus and outside.
Okay. Has the Gospel and Cultural Choir done any events raising awareness on other causes? And do members have input about the songs you guys choose?
So that's something that we would like to do a little bit more. A lot of it is just like, we might do like a Black History Month event, but we want to get into more causes like breast cancer, like different things that people celebrate throughout the year, different alliances and different things like that. It's something that we want to get into, but we definitely credit and listen to our members when they reach out to us, letting us know what they want to do, what they're interested in, what they think that the choir should be a part of. So we're always taking advice from them.
Nice. Speak a little bit about Revelations and delve into the scripture about the song you guys sung at the breast cancer luncheon that the AKAs hosted. Do any parts of the song like stand out to you in relation to like breast cancer?
I think there's this part in the song that talks about how mighty the Lord is. And oftentimes when you're dealing with something like that, you're looking to the doctors to help you out. You're looking for the medicine to cure you, but you have to be reminded of how mighty God is throughout all of what you're going through. So often when you're going through things like that, you just need something to reassure you that everything is going to be okay. And when you listen to that specific part of the song in the scripture, it talks about how mighty he is and how he will be able to help you throughout whatever you're going through, and nothing is too hard for him.
Why do you think that is, though? Like, why do, when people like get diagnosed with like cancer, or like they have like disease, why do you think they always turn to a higher being? Are they have no faith in the doctors, or?
That's an interesting point, and it's a good question. I think the main reason is because I feel like people are so used to having control over their life.
Right.
They're so used to going to school, doing the same things every week. They have control over what they eat, what they see, what they watch, what they consume. And when you're sick with something like this and cancer, you don't have any control over it. You're just at the mercy of what the doctors can do, what the medicine can do. And you're also at the mercy of what you feel like God can do. And so often you're hearing these, it could be negative reports, up and down. Every day is different, and you're looking for consistency and control. And God can offer all of those things, and I think that's why people look to a higher power. It's not the fact that the doctors are not helpful, the medicine might not work. It's really the fact that those things will work, but we've seen people lose their lives to this.
Yeah.
Because of that lack of control and that lack of knowing what's going to happen. And so that higher power gives you a real encouraging moment that, like, okay, they might not know, they're trying different things, they're experimenting, but I can trust in God and say, you're gonna have to get me through this because I can't do anything myself.
How did you guys get started?
Ooh, well, we started, I think, over 50 years ago. My mom, when she was at UCF, she was in the choir.
Really?
She graduated, I can't remember, it was like the 80s or 90s, so it's been a while. It started out with a small group, and over time, especially like in the 80s, 90s, the choir grew as choir music grew. And we've seen some highs and lows with membership, different people doing different things, but we're seeing a resurgence now and more students reaching out, more students wanting to be a part. So we started humble beginnings, but we're growing stronger every day.
Nice. How do students get involved?
If you come to one of our rehearsals, we'll take you, whether you sing or not. So if you see us on Instagram, if you see a member that you recognize, you can reach out. We have multiple social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. If you see us on there, you can reach out, say, comment, hey, I want to join. Also in our Instagram, our website is there, so you guys can reach out. Our application is there, information about us, the history about us, all that stuff is there. So, and we meet in the Nicholson School of Communication, room 117, every Monday and Thursday. So if you want to stop by. That's
Do
what
they
I'm
have
saying.
to know how to sing?
No.
Okay.
I say this all the time. Like, I don't sing. Obviously, I play drums, but you don't have to know how to sing. You don't have to sing like Beyonce, Whitney Houston. No. Just come.
Okay.
We have many different things that we do. We have a dance ministry. Of course, we have the musician part of things. We have the singer part of things. If you just want to help out, come and be a part of it. And then we also do different things like Bible study and whatnot. So if you're just looking for a faith-based organization to be a part of, join us.
Okay. How long have you been a drummer?
Woo. I've been playing drums since, people always ask me that question, and I always give them different answers. But the answer I'm going to give is about 10 to 12 years. When I grew up, I started beating on the couch with sticks and whatnot. Wasn't the best. I wasn't bad. But my parents, because they knew what I was doing, and I wasn't tearing up their couch, like ripping it up, nah. But 10 to 12 years, I started taking it more seriously when I got into middle school, and I've stuck with it ever since.
As a man, how would you want to connect with Black men on campus about reaching out for help and guidance when it comes to either breast cancer awareness or just health disparities, period?
I think the main thing when it comes to Black men, first of all, you have to understand that it affects you directly or indirectly. It might affect somebody in your family. We all have moms, aunties, sisters, girlfriends, whatever it is, and it also affects Black men as well. There are so many different Black organizations that represent Black men, that Black men are in, that are led by Black men. So it's really about us connecting, and I really want to do a better job as I'm the vice president of connecting with other organizations, especially with other Black men that are leaders on campus, to connect about these issues that don't only affect us, because we do have to stand up when it comes to Black women and their issues, but it does affect us. So that's the main thing for me.
Right. According to the American Cancer Society, breast cancer is the most common diagnosed cancer among women in the U.S., specifically for Black women. Mm-hmm. And compared to older women, young women under 50 who are Black get a more aggressive cancer, and we don't have a solution for that, and we die more at a higher rate than any other race. And I think it's pretty crazy, like, how it's October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I think we're so used to hearing it that we no longer care. We're like, okay, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Like, we know, people have breast cancer. We go on these walks, but then there's no initiative, there's no drive. And I feel like unless someone is personally affected, then we really don't care.
That's so true, so true. I think the biggest thing, especially for Black men to understand, is that this could happen to anybody. This is not specifically for a certain group of Black women. Your mom could be affected by this. The girl that you're with could be affected by this. And this is affecting women all ages. So it's not just your grandma. It's not just Big Mama. It's not just, your mom or whatnot. Like, this could affect your sister.
Right.
Like, this could affect somebody your age. Somebody on campus could have this or be dealing with this in their family or whatever it is. So I think the main thing is for Black men specifically is to be educated, understand that you're at risk too. It's not just an issue that affects Black women, but making sure that you support them through whatever it is, whether it's testing, if they're diagnosed, making sure that you're there to support them. A support system is really in place. But I think the biggest thing is do your research, have information in hand, and don't just be going to these events and wearing pink. Yeah. Like, realize what the pink represents. Realize what those bows represent, what these walks represent. It is so important to know more than just the basics of, okay, it's breast cancer, it's October, it's pink. Nah, it means a lot more than that. Yeah. People's lives are on the line, so lock in, for real, for real.
Thank you, Ben, for being here today and being our first guest on the Real Talk podcast. If you want to learn more about GCC, just follow them on Instagram at GCC_UCF. The Real Talk podcast is hosted by the National Association of Black Journalists at UCF. You can follow us on Instagram at NABJ-UCF. I'm your host, Christie St, and we'll see you for the next episode of the Real Talk podcast.